You are listening to Beyond the Wheel, a podcast about the people and ideas that drive the RV community forward.
Looking to get out there and stay out there? Battleborn Batteries lithium-ion batteries are here to power your RV, marine, and off-grid adventures. Designed as an easy drop-in replacement for traditional lead-acid batteries, these reliable solutions have 2 to 3 times the power, charge 5 times faster, are a fifth of the weight, and last 10 times longer. Offered in a variety of models in unique sizes and shapes, ranging from 50 amp hour to a robust 270 amp hour. And backed by a 10-year warranty. Battleborn batteries are built to fit your needs and power your experiences. On the road, on the water, and off the grid, reliable power is here. Check them out at battlebornbatteries.com.
One thing everyone wants to be more convenient on their RV adventures is cooking. The RV gets very hot inside in the summer, and adding the heat from the propane oven and stove can sometimes make it unbearable. Also, not everyone likes carrying around a grill and an extra propane cylinder or charcoal and lighter fluid. Luckily, soon there will be another option. Chef is a lithium-powered induction cooktop that can be carried almost anywhere, even a backpack. I won't do the product justice in my description, so let's talk with Chad from Newr, the inventor and company founder, so he can give us all the details.
Hey, Chad. Thanks for joining us today. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself and your role at Newr?
Thanks for having me on, Kenny and Sean. So I'm the founder and CEO of Newr, and I have basically saw a need for, I'll say, the outdoor cooking, the portable cooking, and we're working to fill that need. Among other problems, there's other problems that we're going to solve in the future, but that's our first problem that we're going to look to tackle and offer a solution for. So I'm the originator of the concept for the product and the sole founder of the company.
And you have a background in engineering, correct?
Yes, I do. So I went to Purdue University and I did mechanical engineering technology, and then I worked in the automotive industry for over a decade doing product design and development from acquisition all the way up to serial production.
And today we have you on to talk about your product called the Chef. And how would you best describe, what the Chef is and what it does?
So Chef, we dropped the, but it's Chef, and it's kind of like a name. So it's an extension of the person. But I'll say the easiest way to describe it is it's the most convenient portable outdoor or on-the-go cooking solution while giving you all of the, I'll say, comfort or control that you would normally have from a fixed in place stove in your house.
Okay. So it's portable. So you're aiming, so I guess you're aiming towards an outdoor enthusiast.
So that may be one of the markets and maybe one of the first. So I guess I can kind of, I don't know if I want to, if I can get into kind of like how I thought of or came about that gap that needed to be filled. But at my house, we have a radiant electric stovetop, and those get extremely hot to be able to provide the amount of cooking that's needed to transfer it through the conduction from the glass to the pan or pot. We have, in our household, I have 4 kids. We have smoked rags. We have melted microwave covers. We've lost a few fingerprints along the way. So there's a lot of things that, from a safety perspective, and we also, when we're not using that stove, countertop space, I feel like in almost every kitchen is there's not enough. And so we're always putting stuff on it, baked goods for cooling, just anything that you would normally have on your countertop space from a food perspective or pan perspective gets put on there. And so that is kind of, I'll say, like the front half of it. And then when you're standing there, you can look out a side window to see the back deck, and you can see the outdoor grill, the propane grill that we have. and it kind of just like standing there looking out to the side, I kind of did like a double take, and I'm like, why do I have the same thing twice? And neither which I can't take inside or outside or anywhere else. And so it was kind of like, why can't I just break it down and put it away when I don't want to use it or take it wherever I want to go? And so that was kind of the original like problem set, right? Apart from being, the safety aspect of induction, the portability of battery, like all of those things kind of came together after that original, like we have a fixed in place stove. I think I've kind of equated it back to like fireplace cooking, where you can't move the cooking from where the heat source is. And we're totally portable. I know there's other options that can do that, but from a control perspective, we've got a fully integrated app that controls everything. So like we have tons of control, and our ability to be inside for us, like for me personally, was the moment when I was standing in front of the stove and looking outside thinking, why can't we just put this away or take it with us when we want to? Why do we have to have an outdoor standalone, use specific case, a stove that's stuck in place, use specific case? So that was kind of where like I said, it was like a double take.
So as far as the customer you had in mind was yourself, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah. So we go to parks with the kids. My family has a farm near Indianapolis, and so ever since like being a kid, I would be out there in the summers doing all kinds of stuff. So I'd say from an outdoor perspective, that's where like my heart resides, is there, hanging out by the creek or just doing outside manual labor or just being outside just in general on a farm life. But yeah, so we've gone there, we've done some cooking there, and traditionally it's been we either take a gas stove or we cook over fire, or we bring, I'll say, like store bought stuff that you don't have to cook. It's just refrigerator ready or cooler ready. So it's been kind of a personal need that I feel fits a lot of people, maybe not in the exact same way, but in a lot of very similar circumstances.
And you had mentioned earlier that it's battery operated. I'm guessing, well, not really guessing because I looked at your website. It is a lithium battery that you are using to power your cooktop.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a big battery. It's almost a kilowatt battery. So it's a big battery. But I mean, and people that have induction stoves know this, whether there's at home or in RVs and stuff, they're a massive draw on circuits. And so, you got to have enough power, both from a like on demand perspective, but also a tank to be able to keep it running for enough time to cook. So there's kind of a balance of battery size versus cook time. And when you start to reduce one, the other one kind of goes with it. So if you can make it lighter or make a smaller battery, but then you have less cook time, or vice versa.
Right. Can you talk a little bit about the cook time? So off a single charge of the battery, how long can you cook for? And can you plug it in and use it as well, or does it have to be unplugged while using it as for the power?
It doesn't have to be unplugged when you're using it. You can plug it in. The power will still flow. The plug power would still flow through the battery. So our charge rate is slower than our use rate. So you would still flow through the battery, but it would extend the total available cook time. But on a single charge, not plugged in, you get around 2 hours of mixed use cooking. So that's like, pancakes, eggs, kind of the mid-range power consumption. And then from a, like, if you're really, boiling water, you're really giving it the beans, it would be around like 30 minutes.
Okay. Wow, that's really good. I think that's great.
Yeah.
What about recharge time?
So we can recharge in roughly 4 hours if you're using the full 300 watt charging capacity. But that would be through 24 volts source, which we have like I'll say like a laptop brick that goes from AC to DC. So if you have plug into like a 110, you would have 24 volts. We can charge direct with either 12 or like a solar array. So you can do a lower voltage. It just would be then a longer charge time, if you're coming off of that 300 watts.
I like that you have the option there, though, especially for our market, for what Sean and I usually speak to, the overlanding and the camping side of things. Solar is a big deal right now in that market. And I think the fact that you have the flexibility to be able to charge off of different formats, and especially solar, that will appeal to a lot of the car campers, van lifers, the fact that they can charge off solar. And the other thing I like about that is that you're kind of using what I would consider like a renewable energy source. I'm not running out to change propane tanks or anything like that. I can kind of make my own power right there on the spot. And I feel like it's a very clean way to go.
Yeah, and I think that's part of what we're trying to get to is this. Our slogan is cook freely for chef, and so
Mm.
that's whether it's location or like you were just mentioning, whether it's propane, so that your energy source, you got a lot of flexibility from where you can use it, and then also how you can charge it or recharge it. Just to provide more convenience and less stress when it comes to cooking and worrying about, like you said, propane bottles. I mean, I don't know how many conversations we had with folks at the Moore Expo, and they're like, I run out of propane all the time. And then it's like,
Hmm.
then I have to do like over the fire cooking and stuff. And it's like, yeah, there's this option. You can use solar, and it's not like you said, now it's almost unlimited, assuming you get sunny days, which
I have a question too, like, and then it's kind of a technical question. You don't have to answer it if you don't want to, Chad. From battery, the power source, so from battery to heating the plate or the stovetop itself, is it going through an inverter or any type of step up, step down, or is it all running off of DC power?
it's all running off of DC power.
It is.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
so
interesting. So,
we're trying to eliminate, like I said, as part of convenience is also inefficiencies. So we're trying to eliminate the inefficiencies that you would have when you try to step up, step down, go from DC to AC back to DC. There's a lot of loss in heat that you would have, and so we're trying to maximize the cooking time. And so, as being as efficient as possible, we can in that aspect on the operation side of things allows for a longer cook time for the user.
does that also help you in saving space?
The form factor is really small that we have, and you may be able to fit some of that stuff in there, but it definitely helps eliminate some of the complexity relative to the different components you would need. I guess, like you were saying, to change from to do an inverter and stuff is more components, and yeah. So I mean, we it just wasn't what we wanted to do from a efficiency perspective. So it kind of some of the decisions that we started off from, like I was talking about my comparison to radiant electric and gas. Induction is a cool top. The only reason the glass gets warm at all is from the actual touching from the pan that it absorbs, but the glass doesn't get hot. So it was some of those decisions started to lead to the architecture that we have. And, you know, part of that is like, and I mentioned before, the biggest battery that you can fit allows you to have the longest cooking time, right? Because you have the most power available. So that was kind of the things where we did try to keep a small form factor out for everything else, and only keep what was absolutely necessary.
I think one of the key things you had mentioned when we talked to you before was that there's also Bluetooth capability. So there's an app that you can use to control the chef as well.
Yeah, so we have our Newr app, which controls all of the functionality of Chef. So there's no buttons on Chef. So everything is Bluetooth controlled from our app that we've created. We've kind of created a battery product, an induction portable product, and an app. So we're launching 3 products simultaneously to not add any complexity to what we're already doing. But the app has all the functionality for level setting, for timers. You can also set smart charging. So if you want to do off-peak charging based on your state location or country location, then it'll load a program in so that you will only charge on off-peak times. So from, like we were talking about, using solar, you can also help from your draw because you got a big battery, so you can charge off times that are convenient and also cost savings. The state that I'm from, Indiana, last I looked, we had an on peak of like 28 cents and an off peak of 7 cents. So you're talking about 75% savings from a recharge if you just are selective with the time that it charges. What else does that do? Yeah, I mean it's got capabilities to do kid mode. So we've got a setting where you can turn it on for kid mode, so it locks the power level to a certain setting. We've got a boat mode, so that if you take this on a boat, you can turn that on, and it will. We have some, I'll say some parameters put in place for the amount of tipping that you can cook on, so an uneven surface. And so if you're on a boat, obviously you would be kind of moving around quite a bit with the waves. There's a lot of flexibility on that app from a control perspective. We've got presets that we're working on. So if if you don't really remember what temperature or excuse me, what power level you're supposed to be doing eggs at, for instance, we can set that up. We can even make custom ones that are. I was watching one of the chefs doing scrambled eggs, and it's like certain amount of heat on, off, and we can just do that with a program, and so you don't have to do anything other than stir. And we can tell you when to stir. We can if you're making smash burgers, we can probably tell you to push harder. So we got I mean, we've got all kinds of stuff that we're gonna try to offer as a like I said, from a convenience, from control perspectives, just to make it as most functional you can have, and then still be portable.
Was that app part of your original thinking and designing the product, or did that come after?
The app came originally because we have to. My oldest child is a high functioning autistic kid, and so he likes to investigate. So we have to take all the knobs off of our stove and lock the stoves and do different things just to make sure. And this was obviously years ago when this all started, but so I'm like, I don't want any buttons on this. I know we've had some individuals say that, oh, well, we would like some manual control and that, and we've discussed doing a knob that we can control it on the side that would be a snap-on feature. And I don't know if you guys have seen some of the stuff. We brought a little display. I can probably get that out and I can show you. Yeah, just cleaning around stuff, safety concerns, the ability to be flexible. I mean, if we don't like a button, we can change it. I mean, if we want to add a button, we can add a button. I mean, I tell my software guys, that's great. Well, let's do it again tomorrow. Like throw that out and let's start over. And they don't like that, but so you can see on the sides here. So these are the two attachments we have on both sides. But we have a little attachment. I think it's on my website for a USB adapter. But like we have that on the sides as well. So if there was a manual control, we would put it through there.
I'm going to make sure I add a couple pictures of this to our show notes for anybody listening, because when you pick that up, it's a lot smaller than I was guessing because of the power source being so, dense, I guess. But yeah, it's honestly, it's about 3/4 or half the size of what I was expecting it to be. If anybody's listening, it's almost the size of like a salad bowl.
Yeah, it's around 4 inches tall and 12 inches in diameter.
Is part of that also because, it has no physical buttons on there? Do you think that helped you reduce the size of it as well? I mean, that is more than just portable. That's like throw in a backpack.
I have put it in my backpack. It's a little heavy for like long backpacking, but yes. So to answer your question, that does help because then you don't have a designated area for a screen or for buttons on all the stuff that goes with that. So yes, that does help minimizing it and making it all digital. That definitely helps to streamline the outside profile and the shape and all that.
And I know it's induction cooktop, and I only have used induction cooktops rarely. I don't have a whole lot of experience with them. What types of pans do and don't work with an induction cooktop? Do you have to buy something that says induction pan, like to have it work?
So carbon steel cast iron, and then any of the pans that you just mentioned. So if you had like an aluminum pan, it would have to have a magnetic bottom to it, and that's where you would get the logo for induction, the three coils for induction cooking. If it's not a magnetic pan or pot. And so, like, a easy check is to put a magnet on the bottom, and just a household magnet. If the magnet sticks, when you could have put it on an induction stove, it will work.
Okay. I've never heard anybody talk about cast iron working with induction cooktops before, so I'm glad I asked.
Yes, it works. They work really well. The carbon steel pans work really well. They're a little bit lighter, but they give you kind of a similar seasoning effect. That's what we use for all of our show demos now is a carbon steel. We've got a 12-inch and an 8-inch pan that we use and give away.
So you guys already have this model out. You're able to bring it to shows, let people see it. Because I always think that's the best way to sell something is kind of put it in the hands of somebody and let them see, like, especially this. Like when you just picked that up, I honestly wasn't expecting it to be that small. So, to be able to see something, pick it up, maybe even use it a little bit at the show. That's great that you guys are taking it to shows.
We've had a lot of people, when you talk to them over the phone, just say, okay, they get kind of the concept or they'll look at the website and they're like, okay. But when you see it in person, I mean, we had a person just yesterday, we were hiking here at Mount Benai down here in Austin, and all we had was this one part out, and we had our box out because we were just doing some pictures, right? We had our box out, and she was like, "Oh, you can cook on that?" She was like, "Oh, for like picnics and like," and I was like, "Yeah, here's here's some information." So yeah, when you actually see it, it's very much a touchy-feely part where you want to see it. You want to see it in action, or you have to hear from somebody that that's used it, and go from there, because it's definitely, like you said, it's definitely a new concept and approach to the portable cooking. If you're familiar with propane cooking or you're familiar with like the plug-in induction little single burner or double burners that are out there for most RVs and stuff like that.
What about weather, Chad? If I was outside, at a picnic table and it started raining and I was in the middle of cooking.
Again, part of some of those decisions that drive other things, lithium batteries and also electronics don't like water. So we're sealed up. So we're doing like IP67, if you're familiar with like ratings, but it's like basically splash and spray. So you won't have any worries about rain or spilling a drink or any of that stuff.
Okay.
I don't know if it'll float. If you're in a boat and you throw it in the water, I don't think it'll float, but
I have a curveball question for you. I'm going to ask the opposite. So I do a lot of Jeeping and 4x4, and especially out here in Arizona where it's dusty and stuff like that. If somebody were to use it in a dust area, I mean, I'm guessing since it's splash proof, it would be dust proof as well.
yeah. So on that IP, the first number is the dust, the second number is the water, and so yeah, it would be dust and water. So the seal would be for that, but you could also, like, if you can spray it off, you can also spray off all of the dust. But yeah, from a function perspective, it may just look a little dirty, but from a function perspective, you would still have all your function from cooking and stuff.
So I had a question about temperature. You talked about like a max temperature, low temperature. What is its maximum temperature? And then what is a temperature that maybe somebody would use it to, say, cook eggs or make pancakes?
So we've had a cast iron skillet up to 550 degrees. I don't know if that would be the max temperature, but that's pretty hot. And then from like a temperature of what like people would use that, I'd say somewhere in the like high 2s to like the high 3s. So like in the 300-ish range. We did eggs in the little mason ball jar lids, which is a very handy trick if you want to keep everything separate. We've done pancakes and we did eggs in those, but yeah, we had that on a level. We started on a level 5, but we went to a level 4, and so that was, yeah, I think that hit like 350, 360. So we kind of checked it a little bit, but yeah, I mean there's no heat concern. I did have some of those questions as well from individuals.
from actually looking out your window and having that idea to having a product that you were ready to sell, what was the time frame?
So we're still in the process of the second part of that, but we've been doing development for a little over a year and a half now, and so we're at that point now where we're doing the beta testing. I'll say gearing up for production.
Okay. And we're recording this in April right now. I believe this episode doesn't come out to maybe July, August. Where do you see the company at by that time, midsummer?
Midsummer would be like us gearing up, going through all of our, because there's a long list of certifications relative to
Oh yeah.
UL listing. I don't know if you guys are familiar. So like UL listed products, FCC. Like I mentioned, like the IP, all that. Like there's a lot of certifications that go into the battery, the induction coil, because it's its own setup, and then we've got Bluetooth as well. So we transmit signals, we receive signals, we create a magnetic field. So there's a lot of things that have to go through certification. So that would be all of the summer, and then production is targeted for the end of this year. The fall time frame.
That's great. I think a lot of people, maybe not people that listen to our show because we ask, these questions from other companies, but I think the general public don't realize how many hoops there are to jump through to get a product actually into the hands of the consumer.
Yes, there's a lot, and it can be very costly too. So I mean, from a development and then running through all of those certifications, I understand why, but it is, there is a process to it.
And where are you guys located? Where's like home base for Newr?
So we are in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Okay. And will you be doing production there as well? Is that where you're planning on manufacturing?
Yeah. So final assembly is going to be done in Indianapolis as well.
Sean and I are big fans of like factory tours, and I know this is way out in the future type of thing. We're not really that way out because you said end of this year. Would somebody be able to stop by and do a factory tour?
Yeah, actually, that's one of the so cities in general. I'll say like grow, and they need a lot of places for people to live. But some of my complaints to that is I don't want to carpool to work. So the big cities also need the places for people to work outside of just I'll say the office or the desk jobs. And so like that's why I was telling one of the city people that I'm trying to work with is we need to keep sexy manufacturing nearby so that you don't have to commute to a lot of these jobs. And so I would love it for Newr to be a destination for schools or individuals to come by and see. I mean, I even wanted to do so like window shopping. For me, I can remember back 20 years or so walking, along the storefronts downtown, whether it was in Indianapolis or Chicago, wherever you got the big windows. And for me, it'd be great to, instead of having, I'll say like mannequins and stuff, having people actually put stuff together. You can kind of see how stuff's being made in real time. Because that was one of the shows that I liked as a kid was, how it's made and just all of there's engineering on the design side, but there's also engineering on the manufacturing side. And like, that's just a great thing for people and kids to understand, when they want something and they don't, they may not, or they buy something, they may not understand the process that it took to get it to where it is at their door. Right. There's kind of a lost knowledge with how easy stuff is to come, direct to your house now. And so I think some of that would be beneficial, like I said, from a learning perspective, but just as a problem for myself is I commuted almost an hour each way for a decade, and it's that time adds up. You can't get it back, and it's hard to when you're driving. It's hard to do anything other than drive, right? So,
right. I got a two more questions for you. One, the warranty. What type of warranty are we looking at for the chef? And as far as like what will it cover? As far as the battery, the cooktop, just overall, I guess, operation of it.
I'll say we're kind of still, since we're going through still yet to go through all the certifications and all the manufacturing side of things. I'd say the fine details of that aren't known to me yet. But I would like to offer something. Obviously, one is going to be a very reliable product, but I would say like a 2-year warranty is something that's been in my mind as far as what we want to offer for any of like the manufacturer defects and stuff like that. And I mean, like I said, there's a lot of onboard smarts and stuff. So I mean, we're going to try to, I don't want to say limit, but we want to try to make it so that if you don't realize you're doing something that could be bad for the device, for Chef, then we're going to let you know. We'll send you a warning and notification and stuff like that. But I feel like the manufacturing defects kind of thing, right, is what we would want to warranty and really want to. I'd say, like I said, 2 years for me feels like a good number, but maybe it's 3.
And then my second part is, or second question is, when you guys do get to the point of selling, are people going to be able to purchase this through the website, Amazon? Is one of your goals to have it in stores? Like, what is your ideal, selling strategy, I guess?
It's probably multifaceted. So yes, I would like for it to be in a retail so that people could go in and see it firsthand, because I think, like I was just giving you the example about the lady who saw it, and basically without me saying anything, she had a full grasp of what it was. I think that would be good. I do like being able to ship it direct to people if it wasn't in a store local to them, because I don't see this as a product that was going to be available in every single store, but maybe as some specific, like outdoor centric stores that would be good to have them in those stores. And like I said, those aren't available everywhere. So being able to ship it online, either from my website or through some other method would be great. And then in addition to that, we're working with a bunch of dealers. So we're working on a dealer network of individual, or I should say not individual, small businesses that are doing either van conversions or trailer builds or smaller individual outdoor stores. So we're trying to work with some of those to kind of create a network to get it into people's hands as well, as part of either a build or, like I said, to come back through from somebody that they know and had experience with to be able to purchase it there.
Yeah, I really see this being very applicable to the overland folks and van life people. And like Kenny was mentioning earlier, he does a lot of trail riding in Jeeps, and this would be great to be able to stop and just heat something up, cook something instead of just eating straight out of a cooler all the time. So yeah, this is especially after seeing the size of it. I mean, it's easily able to fit somewhere small, so that it's no extra work really.
Yeah, it's definitely vehicle size friendly.
Yeah. I mean, we've, like I said, we've got pictures and some videos and stuff on our website or social media of putting it in drawers or different cubbies in trailers or RVs or campers, so sliding campers, stuff like that. So there's definitely a lot of spaces for those. And then from a Jeep perspective or like an overlanding vehicle, yeah, I mean, it's very friendly for that, because you bring that in your pan and whatever food you want to cook. And I mean, like I said, we set up at the park here yesterday and we cooked 7 eggs. And I think it took us maybe 10 minutes from like starting, like open box, set it down, turn it on, eggs done. So, I mean, it's very fast to cook, and it's easy to set up. You just set it on any, I'll say relatively flat surface.
Are you planning, Chad, to have like a travel bag or anything like that? Something that holds the cord, holds the cooktop itself, and like a travel bag type of accessory?
I'll say initially, no. I really don't want extra things. I like, part of what I was trying to do is eliminate all the extra things. So what we're trying to do with our box, we call it the SOU case, so SOUS case. And so like for that, we're trying to make it so that it's reusable, and so you can store it in there. It's got a handle, easy to carry around. It's a durable construction. I mean, we've been putting some of these through their paces, and they're holding up great. So it would have it'd have everything you want, cords, the little adapters, all that stuff conveniently stored in there. And then that's something that you can keep around and use it to transport it if you want, or like you were talking about, you can put it in a backpack, put it in a Costco bag, or one of those canvas bags. You can put it wherever you want to carry it to the next destination for cooking.
Okay. Well, I actually like that better. The fact that you're able to reuse the box that it's coming in, I feel like that's just less waste and just more environmentally friendly in the long run. So I actually like your answer better than my idea. So that's great.
Yeah, so if I could add on to that environmentally and sustainability part just a little bit, our design, we're intending to, when you're done using them, similar to smartphones, that you trade them in, and we can refurbish those and then sell them to, or get them into the hands of other people who maybe not be able to purchase the first version, being able to reuse those. And then from the box perspective, some people, like you said, that would be handy to keep the box. Some people may not want to use the box. So we're also kicking around the idea of sending the box back to us, so including like a prepaid shipping label, and we'll reuse that box to ship to the next person.
Oh, that's a really good idea.
Thank you. And so like getting rid of whether it's extra steps, extra cords, we're trying to get it down so it's like very, very streamlined, and it's like the minimum that you need. And if you don't need it, then it's either like reusable or like we'll take it back and we'll reuse it.
Yeah, that's great. I've never heard of that before, and I applaud you for that. I think that's a super idea.
Well, hopefully we're not the only ones that do it, but hopefully we're the first ones.
So for people that are interested in the product, Chef, and want to follow along the progress to see when it's actually going to be available to purchase, what's the best way for them to do that? Is it just through your website?
So the website's a great one. So that's newrcompany.com. So NEWR, company spelled out.com, or through one of our social media channels. So we have Instagram and YouTube, and we also have Facebook as well. And so those are Newr_company for those. But yeah, those we post videos, we post updates. We also have a newsletter that we send out updates on to everybody who's subscribed to the newsletter, which is through our channel or through our website, excuse me.
All right, and we can add links to all that in the show notes.
Chad, I think that's all of our questions, unless there's something we missed that you wanted to add.
I mean, like I think I wanted to just reiterate that this is the first. This isn't the only. So this is our first product, but it's not going to be our only product. We're going to have, whether it's accessory features to this or complementary features to this. We're planning on, I'll say, continuing that trend or theme of if there's a problem and we've got a creative solution, we're going to work to create a product for that. And we do stuff a little bit differently. I mean, I think differently about stuff. So we don't want to do what someone's been doing. We want to do it different. We want to do it better. And there's a lot of technology that wasn't available. And there's also, mindsets of people that have changed. So I know there's a lot of comments about not using the phones and wanting to be able to just have a knob and a button, and people want like really large grills. And if you can kind of shift your focus, or you can kind of like be a little more open-minded on, well, I can set it on my phone and then I put it down and I don't have to mess with it again. So it's really not that big of a hassle, or like I can cook on one pan, and when I'm done, because induction is very quick for heating up and cooling down, I can switch to a different pan. I can cook the next thing. Similar to if you had like two burners going, you could do the same thing if you only had one. So it's really about, trying to kind of like reshape the mindset of like, what do I actually need and how can I actually use it the best? And so we're trying to help create products that get to that intersection.
Oh, I think this was great. And I think the fact that you think differently definitely comes through with this and your company. I think you have a lot of outside the box ideas for this. And I know Sean and I are really excited to see this in person at a show or maybe even in a store someday. So we want to thank you for your time to coming on and explaining how Chef works and just the process behind getting it to the market. We really appreciate your time. Thanks, Chad.
Thanks, Kenny. Thanks, Sean.
Looks like camp cookouts are going to get a whole lot easier with the new Chef from Newr. It's amazing just how much tech they are able to include into this induction cooktop, especially when you see how compact it is. I hope to get to see this in action at an upcoming show, and if I do, I'll snap some photos and share it on our social media accounts. Because of its portability, I believe Newr is going to have a very broad consumer base, and we will start seeing these pop up at campgrounds, off-grid camping, and off-roading. To learn more about Newr, check them out online at newrcompany.com. That's Newr, N-E-W-R, company, company.com. That's the end of this show, but before we go, could you do us a favor and leave us a review or rating on your favorite podcast platform? Even leaving us just the rating alone makes a big difference on how our show gets ranked, and it makes it easier for new listeners to find us. Plus, it's always nice for us to see these ratings. It makes our day. So take care all, and safe travels.
Looking to get out there and stay out there? Battleborn Batteries lithium-ion batteries are here to power your RV, marine, and off-grid adventures. Designed as an easy drop-in replacement for traditional lead-acid batteries, these reliable solutions have 2 to 3 times the power, charge 5 times faster, are a fifth of the weight, and last 10 times longer. Offered in a variety of models in unique sizes and shapes, ranging from 50 amp hour to a robust 270 amp hour, and backed by a 10-year warranty. Battleborn batteries are built to fit your needs and power your experiences. On the road, on the water, and off the grid, reliable power is here. Check them out at battlebornbatteries.com. With the complexity of all the systems in an RV, I always say it's not if something's going to break, but a matter of when is something going to break. That is why I think an extended warranty for RVs is so important. We first interviewed wholesale warranties back in 2019 and immediately became impressed with how their policies worked, such as you can take your RV to any licensed repair shop, including mobile repairs. They also have personalized service plans, making sure you are getting the right policy for your needs. And if you think your RV is too old for a policy, you might be surprised to hear that RVs up to 20 years old can still be approved for a policy. That is more age lenient than most RV parks I've stayed at. Go to wholesalewarranties.com/beyond the wheel, or click the link down below in our show notes to get your free quote today.